Hello and welcome to our AirHub portal training series. Today I'm going to do a deep dive on all the features and functions within AirHub portal. Before we begin, let's go ahead and familiarize ourselves with the layout and navigation of the application. On the far left-hand side, you'll notice the primary navigation bar in the vertical orientation, and within it, it has 4 main tabs. We're currently situated on the Home tab, which is indicated by the solid blue bar on the left-hand side, but we also have the Discover, Plan, and Manage tabs. Within each one of these 3 tabs following the Home tab contain the majority of the functionality and tools of AirHub portal. At the top, we have our secondary navigation bar, which contain things like global search, guides and resources, ability to log in and out, and the ability to create events. But we'll get into this more later. So I'm going to go ahead and navigate over to the Discover tab. The purpose of the Discover tab is mainly there to start to get familiar and understand what's going on in your airspace and your local community. The main tool within the Discover tab is what we refer to as the Airspace tool, and it's to inform users about the area they intend to operate their drone in. This tool aggregates over 50 different data sources to display a list of advisories based on the location you intend to operate in. The pilot awareness of these advisories, both air and ground-based, are essential for conducting safe operations in the national airspace. Let's go ahead and dive into how to use this tool by actually searching and planning in an area of the country that's always sunny and optimal for drone flying, and that's San Diego. There are 2 ways to actually go into and zoom into San Diego. The first way we can navigate is with the mouse or with the plus and minus buttons to zoom in and out, or we can leverage the global search at the top of the screen, which is exactly what I'm going to do. Start typing San Diego, and you can see the first result is that. When you click on it in the global search, or if you click on the map, if you did a more manual pan zoom, you'll notice an icon appears where that click has occurred. When the icon appears, you'll notice our advisory panel open up here on the right. The advisory panel contains a couple of things. Most importantly are all these advisory cards within it, but high level on the far right, we have a summary of how many advisories are intersecting and nearby to that point. We have the actual latitude, longitude of that point. We have the ability to minimize this and leave it as a visual summary in terms of what's around the area. In this particular case, this is like a stoplight, green, yellow, or red, indicating that you're good to go and nothing's going on. Yellow advises for a cautionary and red is typically a hard stop, and an area you most likely don't want to fly in. Finally, the button below that will clear the advisory card and also clear the icon from the map. What I'm going to do here, just as a demonstration, you can see it cleared out, but I'm going to go ahead and drop the point again to get it back on the screen. By default, the Intersecting Advisory tab is what's open. You can choose which one of these tabs can be opened or closed. Intersecting Advisories being the most important one here because it's exactly where your point drop is. If I were to open the first advisory card and actually click on it, you can see it highlights the particular card. In this particular case, it's part of the area of the Class Bravo around San Diego International Airport. You can see in order to fly in this area, you need to have LANC approval. We have a quick action button to get you to submit a LANC request. We're going to do that in the next steps. In addition, it's advising you that you're in a 0-foot flight ceiling, and we're also near, I'll click it so you can see that particular grid. We're also near Petco Park, which happens to be the baseball diamond here. If I were to click here, you get an overview of the rules of operating near stadiums. And one of the nice features that's unique to AirHub portal is that we leverage many third-party data sources to help advise our operators. For example, in this case, we tell the operator when an event is in effect or when one is upcoming. You can see that we have 17 scheduled events for this park in the coming months. The most recent one is going to be March 25th, and it looks like a baseball game. If I click on the nearby advisories, you'll notice that there's a whole lot more of them, but you can probably also gather that from just looking at the map that San Diego is a very busy place, a lot of military operating areas, and you can see these are advisories that are within a 2 nautical mile radius of your point drop. They are also in order of distance from that point drop. Starting with what's closest, you can see we also have other San Diego airspace restriction areas, and then we start getting into some of the military operating areas, potentially helipads, and you can interact with all of this as well. That's the advisory tab. This collectively represents a feature that the AirHub portal is certified to provide users for free. It's known as B4UFLI. That's a process that we at Airspace Link go through to ensure our systems are certified and stamped of approval by the FAA to be a Before You Fly partner. Everything I just highlighted to you in these advisory cards and the ability to interact with the map is all considered Before You Fly functionality and resources. For next steps, I am going to go ahead and clear the advisory cards out. If you were to zoom in, you can see a lot of the map symbology start to appear at various zoom levels. The best way to figure out what actually all these things are is leveraging our Layers tab. If I open up the Layers tab, you can see we have everything from airspace to recreational obstructions, infrastructure, and a whole lot of ground-based geospatial data sets. This is where I mentioned earlier the 50 different data sources. Here we have everything from obstacles, and you can see these are above ground level in feet, so you can see how high the obstacles are. This information comes from the FAA, but we also have FCC databases, we have power lines, we have other stadium event parking, military areas, etc. You will find a lot of useful information here. The yellow hexagons indicate population density. That's something we took from the legacy FAA VFR sectional charts in terms of showing you where there's high areas of population, just to help better inform our operators and users of where operations over population may have a higher likelihood of occurring. At the top of the map styles and layers, you'll notice the actual base map switcher. The default in AirHub portal is in dark mode. I can switch to light mode. This is very useful when operating outdoors and the sun is glaring on your cell phone. We also have a satellite view, which is the satellite imagery. And then we have our street map view, which looks like what you would imagine Google Maps to show. Finally, we have our VFR sectional charts, another unique offering within AirHub portal. You'll notice that when I click on it, though depending on your zoom level, you may not see it right away, and that's because these charts are designed to be viewed slightly further out. They're not meant to have that nitty-gritty resolution that our other maps have, because the VFR sectional charts mostly meant for crewed aviation and flying at higher altitudes. So don't be alarmed if you don't see it right away, just zoom out to the proper level. And note that if you zoom too far out, they will also disappear. So there's a little bit of a Goldilocks sweet spot for the zoom level and how you want to go about using those charts. I'm going to go ahead and switch back to dark mode and get ready to line us up for actually creating an operation within AirHub portal. Let's look for an uncongested area. Looks like the Northwest has some clear space. I'm going to go ahead and zoom in here. Let's go ahead and create an operation in the Mission Beach Park area. We're going to save how to create an operation for our next video in our training series. Please join us in our next video where we do a little bit of a deep dive on Lance and show you how to create an operation within AirHub portal. Thank you, and please reach out to our team if you have any questions. Happy flying!